Your oil is thinner than water once your engine heats up, and that thin film is the reason you might be looking at a $7,000 repair bill instead of a $150 fuel savings. Right now, one number stamped on your oil cap is deciding whether your engine lasts 400,000 miles or dies at 100,000, and most drivers have no idea which side of that number they're on. This video exposes the real difference between 0W20 and 5W30, the two oils splitting mechanics and automakers down the middle, backed by a 50-engine durability test that reveals exactly what thinner oil does to your bearings, your cylinder walls, and your bank account. Stick around until the end, because the final mistake on this list has already destroyed engines with less than 150,000 miles on them, and if your car has a turbo, this one detail alone could save you up to $8,000. Coming in at number 7 is the fuel economy trap that convinced you thinner oil was some kind of gift. You were told you'd save $125 to $185 a year switching to 0W20, and that number feels real, so you believed it. But here's the betrayal nobody explains. Back in 2011, NHTSA started slapping automakers with $17 fines per vehicle for every tenth of a mile per gallon they fell short of federal targets, and manufacturers collectively paid over $1.1 billion in penalties between 2011 and 2020. So they didn't switch your engine to thinner oil to protect it, they switched it to protect their bottom line, shaving 2.4% off your engine's real durability just to dodge a fine that had nothing to do with your safety. Here's the part that should actually make you angry. That fine structure was quietly repealed in July 2025, which means the pressure that forced automakers to gamble with your engine no longer even exists. If your car qualifies for a different weight in your manual, this is your sign to stop paying for a regulation that's already dead. Your wallet gained pennies while your engine quietly absorbed the risk. That's not an upgrade, that's a corporate money grab wearing a green energy costume. Number 6 is the cold start myth that's misleading half of you into using the wrong oil for your climate. Mechanics will tell you 90% of all engine damage happens in those first few seconds after ignition, and that's true. Thin oil circulates faster and protects better in freezing temperatures, reaching your bearings and cam lobes in a fraction of the time thicker oil needs. But if you live somewhere with brutal summers, deserts, or you're constantly towing, that same thin protective film that saved your engine in January becomes a liability in July. Oil experts and Consumer Reports testing both point to the same conclusion. 0W20 simply cannot hold up once temperatures inside your cylinder walls start climbing past 400 degrees, and mechanics in places like the Middle East have known this for decades, running 10W40 or 15W40 year-round because winter simply never happens there. The solution isn't complicated. Check your manual for a seasonal range, and if it lists both a winter and summer option, switch with the temperature the same way you'd switch a wardrobe. Use the wrong weight for your climate and you're not protecting your engine, you're gambling with it every single time you turn the key. Number 5 should terrify anyone who's already logged 100,000 miles, because this is where bearing wear becomes a genuine nightmare. Independent durability testing across 50 real-world engines found a staggering 42% increase in main and rod bearing wear on engines running 0W20 compared to 5W30, and your bearing clearances are tighter than a human hair, which means even a small drop in film thickness translates directly into metal grinding against metal. Bearing failure isn't a cheap fix either. You're looking at $3,000 to $7,000 just to make your engine spin properly again. And that's before you factor in labor costs that can push the total even higher depending on your engine layout. That thin film that felt so efficient at the gas pump was quietly grinding away at components that were never designed to run dry, even for a fraction of a second. If your car has crossed 100,000 miles, most manufacturer manuals already permit a switch to a thicker oil, so ask your mechanic specifically whether your model allows 5W30 at high mileage instead of assuming your original recommendation still applies. Save a few dollars on fuel, lose thousands on the engine that fuel was supposed to protect. Number 4 is the cylinder wall scoring almost nobody talks about because you can't see it happening until your mechanic pulls the head off. That same testing revealed 31% more scoring on cylinder walls with thinner oil, and here's why. Inside the space between your piston rings and cylinder walls, combustion gases can superheat your oil to 482 degrees Fahrenheit. A number that sits far beyond the upper limit most 0W20 formulations were ever built to survive. Once that protective barrier breaks down, you get metal-on-metal contact and oil that literally coats onto your piston surfaces, hardening into a varnish that restricts ring movement and quietly kills compression over time. Your engine isn't failing because of bad luck. It's failing because the oil coating your most vulnerable parts gave up under heat it was never designed to handle, and by the time you notice a loss of power or rising oil consumption, the scoring has usually already happened. If you tow, haul, or drive aggressively above 3,000 revolutions per minute regularly, this is exactly the profile mechanics say should not be running the thinnest oil available, regardless of what the cap says. Number 3 is the oil consumption spike that sneaks up on you around the 150,000 mile mark, and by then you're already 28% deeper into oil loss than you should be. Thinner oils evaporate faster and slip through aging seals with far less resistance, which means you're topping off more often, running lower protection between changes, and setting yourself up for the exact failures we just covered. Owners report watching their dipstick drop faster every single year without ever finding an obvious leak. Because the oil isn't leaking, it's disappearing into thin air under heat, and by the time the check engine light flickers on, you're already behind on protection. The fix here is simple and cheap. Check your dipstick every 1,000 miles once you pass 100,000, and if consumption climbs, ask about a high-mileage formulation designed specifically with seal conditioners built in. If your engine is drinking oil like it's thirsty for money, thin oil is the reason why. Number 2 is where things get genuinely dangerous if you drive anything turbocharged, and that's most new vehicles rolling off lots today. A staggering 90% of turbocharger failures trace back to oil-related causes, and your turbo isn't playing around, it's spinning between 150,000 and 250,000 revolutions per minute with internal components exceeding 930 degrees Fahrenheit, more than double what 0W20 was ever rated to withstand under sustained pressure. Lab testing confirms 5W30 reduces high temperature wear by 22% while providing 45% greater film thickness exactly where your turbo bearings need it most, and that difference matters most in the seconds right after you shut your engine off, when residual heat keeps cooking the oil sitting in your turbo housing. Ignore this and you're not looking at a minor repair, you're staring down a $4,000 to $8,000 turbo replacement that could have been avoided with a simple switch your manual probably already allows. So if your warranty has expired and your manual lists a range, this is the one upgrade nearly every turbo owner should seriously consider. And now, number 1, the mistake that has already ended engines with barely any miles on them. Sludge buildup so severe that a full rebuild becomes your only option. One Infiniti QX60 owner learned this the hard way, paying $8,500 to rebuild an engine that choked on sludge because the wrong oil couldn't keep contaminants suspended the way it should have, and by the time sludge shows up on a dipstick, it's usually already coating the inside of your engine like tar. Once sludge reaches that point, an oil flush won't save you, filters won't save you, and no amount of additive bottles from the auto parts store will reverse it, because sludge isn't a liquid problem anymore, it's a solid one baked onto metal surfaces. This is the financial disaster hiding behind every skipped oil change and every mismatched viscosity choice, and it doesn't announce itself until the damage is already permanent. The only real defense is staying disciplined on your interval, full synthetic oil every 5,000 miles or 6 months without exception, because sludge builds slowly and silently long before your dashboard ever warns you. Your engine doesn't forgive sludge, it just quietly plans your 5-figure funeral bill. Here's the truth most dealerships won't say out loud, your owner's manual almost certainly lists more than one acceptable oil weight, and matching that choice to your actual climate, mileage, and driving habits could be the single cheapest insurance policy you ever take out on your engine. You now know exactly where the trap is hiding, and you know exactly how to avoid becoming another repair bill statistic. If this saved you from a costly mistake, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss the next warning before it costs you thousands. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. I read every single one.